And then once the read done, Monday is kind of room.
I'm in the meeting circle, usually we meet on Tuesday, but tomorrow, of course, we're meeting on Thursday. So, yeah.
So we play right, so then you just, exit right out of this. I could play well into
I didn't see you.
November, maybe.
Then you just
November.
Okay.
Your meeting has started.
Okay.
No, you'll see.
Yeah.
Just come in, feel more comfortable, just watch for a while and then everybody. First time you come right in.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, just do anything with a more experienced person. And it's just
Great.
that. So,
Oh. Pass this to Sally. Oh, well, you're going that way.
Rhonda, I have no copies, I have nothing, I couldn't,
Oh,
I gave
oh,
away,
right, oh,
thank you, I didn't know if it was still in your car,
Of
so
course.
in case it was raining, I grabbed the,
oh.
yeah, I gave away the copy I had to the,
Uncle.
somebody who was there yesterday, and I couldn't figure out how to send it to the copy from my phone.
Okay, well. All right, so I'm calling the meeting to order at 5:02. Good to see everybody. Well, why not?
Because the last meeting, because it was with the selectmen, and it was all kind of busy, and I want to be sure that we formally thank Henry for his years of
Well, thank you.
service as our chairman. And I know that kind of got a little bit
Appreciate it.
pushed over.
I might have had a little help.
All in favor? That's all right, we're a team.
That's all.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, adjustments to agenda. The one adjustment I'd like to make is that Sally and I attended on Zoom last night this terrific presentation on Pine Tree Power. So
Oh.
I would like us to take a little time to talk about that and talk about getting the word out to people. It was this wonderful presentation by the woman who I think is either chair of or the most live wire on the Senate.
No pun intended.
That's okay too. Anyway, the state Senate committee that is put together the legislative proposal that is now going to be put to the people by referendum. And I have heard so much garbage
Yeah.
that it was amazing to have somebody actually explain it intelligently. So anyway, just want to put it on the agenda and we'll get to discussing it later.
There is actually a public presentation scheduled at the Camden Regional High
Good.
School.
Yes.
Yes.
We have.
Yes.
Yes, and there's, yes, right,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so we're going to add that in new business. Okay. And anybody else with adjustments?
Nope.
Okay. Review and approval of prior meeting minutes.
The motion to approve the prior minutes.
Any comments, discussion?
No.
All in favor?
All right.
Minutes approved. Thank you, Linda, for your wonderful job as always. Well, that was actually the weird part was that because it was with the select board, Terry did the minutes of the joint meeting. And the one odd thing is that attending for this Conservation Commission is somebody named Linda Bernard or Barrett or whatever.
Linda
Palmer. Anyway, so I think I will suggest to Terry that they fix that or we just leave it broken.
I did suggest Carol.
Oh, okay.
She said Hannah would take care of it.
Okay.
I haven't double checked.
Not to worry. Okay. Other than that, I thought they covered, and Linda sent out to everybody what they did. I would like to suggest to the select board that when they have a joint meeting, whether it's with the budget committee or concert, that they run their draft minutes by that committee as well as the select board because,
Yeah.
anyway,
Makes sense.
so that's just a process tweak. So, old business. Update on Smith and Klein properties. Let me just make a note.
That's going well.
Yes,
Vote tomorrow.
Yeah, we're both pieces will end up
Line
being,
is already closed down.
yeah, okay, wonderful.
And,
so
And what's happening?
a lot, and Henry knows a bit more than some of you, and there is more, and there's a lot of paper, but I thought I wouldn't share it until I gave you just a quick summary of what's been happening, and then you can read the paper or not. But
Make sure I'm not.
we're not allowed to close that door.
We're allowed to close, I just remember.
In June, town meeting authorized the select board to buy the properties with the understanding that the Conservation Commission would work very hard to get grant money to replace the surplus money so that the town wouldn't be out of pocket so much. And we always knew that Klein was in a big hurry to close for his own personal reasons, and he made that clear from day one. But Smith, we were under the impression, was willing to wait a year while we pulled together grant applications and plans and so on. Instead, Smith went to the select board very shortly after town meeting and said, I'd like to close in early September. September. Which really put us under the gun because we were just in the process of researching the requirements for the Land for Maine's Future grants, and they need to approve a purchase or they won't have anything to do with granting. So, and ordinarily you're not supposed to even buy it until they give you a grant. I don't know how in the world that works, but anyway. So Henry and Catherine and I had an emergency meeting with Annette Nagel of the Georges River Land Trust and said, here's our problem. The select board is planning tomorrow night to sign a purchase and sale agreement with Smith. They wouldn't actually, that's not closing, but that would already be a commitment that would be more than Land for Maine's Future would allow. So at our meeting with Annette, thank God she knew what to do. From the meeting, she called the Land for Maine's Future contact person who said, well, if it's going to be mainly conservation, your state sponsor, who's the one who will have to agree to this in advance, would be the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. So the Land for Maine's Future woman then that same day sent a message to Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. They got back the same day and said, well, what we need you to do is fill out this pre-application inquiry form, which was a lot of work. So that same night, I wrote to the select board saying, can you please hold off till we have time to do this? And bless them, they did. And we worked like demons for 2 weeks, Catherine and I, and Annette, and John Spear, and got the inquiry form together. We were still holding our breath because we had not heard back from Inland Fisheries, and Jeff Smith was sort of still pushing, but sort of unavailable. So the lucky bit is that on Sunday, I finally heard back from the Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, and she says, this looks good. This is all you need to do for now. Just wait until the next round of call for applications, which probably won't be till late this year.
What kind of application?
It was a pre-application.
This is
You say-
ours was a pre-application. She had us use the pre-application form
Yeah,
to the extent we could,
Yeah.
but that asked for things like your timetable and your budget.
right.
And we said, we simply can't do that now, but we can tell you what land we're looking at and what the land is like. We can tell you that the town is enthusiastically in support because it was a near unanimous vote at town meeting to allow the select board to buy the property. And we were able to give glowing descriptions of how wonderful this property would be and that it would be available for recreational purposes. And another important thing to them, to the Land for Maine's Future folks, is that it has to be accessible to the public so that it can actually be used by them. In fact, I just read in the paper recently, some big grant was denied because they decided it was not sufficiently accessible. So it was a big chunk of land.
But with the scheduling that we have, those grant avenues that there's a time requirement, the doors are still open on those.
Yes.
So we didn't get
They
shut.
told, yeah, the door is open because we
We
met their
all the
requirements.
I's and crossed all the T's,
Yeah.
so we have not disqualified ourselves. I
Yeah.
think that was,
Right.
the big objective. And I think we did well because we are now in the ear of the top boss
Yeah.
at LMF. And then the person within our, designated state agencies. So we are definitely on their radar. And reading the response, we are small potato in terms
We're
of money.
tiny, yes.
In terms of, money we're asking. And, the fact that she's recommending other grants opportunities, I think we have our marching orders there that we
Mhm.
need to
Mhm.
apply to those.
Right.
To show that, again, we are committed to get the funding and so forth. And so,
Have you made a timeline of what the different avenues and what the?
well, we have three, she gives three names.
Right, I haven't had time.
Okay, yeah.
She gave
Yeah.
three names, and that's the whole point of our meeting tonight. It's like, we need to kind of decide who wants to participate and do what. I mean, we need to research each of those three grant opportunities, figure out, what's the application process, how much money can we expect? And I think even before that, we need to put together a public call for donation, because many of these grants are matching grants. So, members of our committee, we need to show the example, we need to stop the pot essentially the best of our ability. And then we need to figure out how we're gonna contact the people in South Thomaston
Right.
to say, remember, you were all very enthusiastic to say, yes, let's get the land. So now let's put our, money where our mouth is and our little voting clip is. And how much money, and so I'm going through this, but we need to get money not only for the land, but also for the development of it, which
Right.
means, paying a forester to come and tell us, what we need to know about the land, eventually somebody able to plan a trail. So, we need to figure out those budget, at least, ballpark amounts, so
So-
that we have a goal of how much we want to raise.
Right, for the Conservation Commission to spend the effort doing that, under what I remember from reading it when we first started this, is that Parks and Recreation, community recreation is, well, it's kind of part of what we're meant to be doing, so it is the avenue that sort of.
Well, they're expensive to apply to,
Very honest.
and they're very heavy-handed in terms of the control they want, the in perpetuity, as the town has already learned with the tennis court situation, that we practically, sold the baby. And if you recall at the meeting we had with the select board, they're struggling to figure out how we could get out from under
Right,
those restrictions. So that is not, there are lots of other grants out there
I
that
think
don't
they're easier to
have
get.
those strings.
All right, so one of the things we need to consider in any presentation we make to the selectmen is that the timelines on what the grants are about, the timeline on them, and then what restrictions are applied to the
Budget,
town.
we need
Yeah,
numbers.
before, yes, to ask for a grant, you need to ask for a grant for something. And we need to be saying, we need to do a fair amount of research, as Catherine was saying, into what do we need to do on the property?
Well,
And estimates of what it will cost or how much we can get volunteers to help with
right,
and how long it would take and what order we think we need to do
Right.
things in. One thing we need to do pretty soon, and this is not necessarily on the Conservation Commission, is to deal with the roads.
Yeah, I think, just like we had the district forester comes and they gave us good advice, and the report was there. They recommended a professional forester who, because the district forester are state people and they do, this general service that they provided to us. But then they recommended a private forester who works for a
Mhm.
fee. And they said, this one, is active in this area and would be well suited. And I think in terms of budget and her,
Cool.
the value we would get out of her.
what, the order that we need to do things. in.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
my first recommendation would be to contact her and see if we could have a meeting with her. To expose what our grand plan is and see how she would fit in this, what she would be able to do for us, given those, guidelines. And then, get an idea of a first budget. And then we can, I would like to do that with 2 other outfits. So that we have at least a range of those and services and
You mean-
things we could get.
Do you mean in a sense of estimate?
Yes, because the forester, what they said, she's very good at, obviously mapping the land, telling us about the invasive, things that the Conservation Commission is obviously interested in. And then they said she's not gonna be very good at trail development or.
It's not her specialty.
Yeah, so she may be able to tell us, no, this is to be protected. At least we would get a good sense of do not get into that area, let it grow and so forth. So for the trail development, they've mentioned a big company, Stentec, and I have tried to call them. I couldn't even get through. So I think we are, Jeff knows them personally, Jeff knows Graves because of his works for the airport. So I think they deal with just, federal agencies or, large towns that have a big
Mhm.
budget.
Mhm.
We are just under the radar for them.
Do we know who, St. George used to do the Fort Point Trail? Because they had somebody come in and
Yeah.
show them what to do right.
Yeah, we should ask.
Suggestion, the
Yeah.
other.
St. George and Owl's Head have both done this kind of work and we should
So somebody local.
pick their brains.
So
Right.
let's see who they contacted, but I'd like to hear from a few people so that, again, we get to hear all the possibilities of what can be done, what we need to be watchful. Yeah.
I do agree that I think the first thing, if we're gonna start trying to figure out where's the first money, where's the sensible place to try to raise the first money, it is having a forester review it. One thing a forester can do, it's not trail development, but when they're looking at a forest and they're thinking about cutting, part of what they think
Yes.
about is extraction. So in a sense, by
Yeah,
having a forester in first before you have the trail people in, you can say,
Yeah.
we need to stay away from this.
yeah. I think the forester, and because from what I understood from what they were saying is that she knows the job of, she's used to getting that kind of request,
Right.
so she would be very easy to talk to when we would get.
I wouldn't have any problem if 2 members of the board wanted to get, matters not to me in the sense who the members of the board are, but try to talk to the forester and show them these maps so that she has an idea of what she's looking at.
I was even wondering whether she would agree to attend a meeting, with us, so that I could.
Are you talking about Mary Burton?
Yep,
Yeah, I figured you must be.
yeah,
Yeah, she's my forester.
yeah. She's a.
You
good
have a
person.
forester.
I've had her for years.
That's so nice.
Oh,
Oh, no,
Forest.
it's wonderful.
And she did my forest.
Well, she's under the tree. growth.
Right, yeah.
Oh, she's been my forester for three cuts.
Yeah.
Two cuts at least.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
no,
that's,
she's great.
so I think she's,
Oh.
I
You work
yeah,
with
she
her.
works with other people around here.
Do you want
There's one more.
to do a
Very,
motion just to get in touch with her and set up
Yeah.
either a meeting here or a meeting with
Um,
two members to look over the maps and stuff?
It's the one they
Since
recommend.
it's the next thing we can do.
She's a friend
Well,
of that.
let's,
Yeah,
yeah,
what's-
but let's finish.
All right.
Very,
Very.
Brainstorming.
but very.
Yeah, she goes
Barry,
by
what's her
Barry.
last name?
Priscilla,
Ursula.
BRU, SDILLA.
I think there's only one else.
Okay, whatever, it sounds like that.
I don't know.
And I can verify the name. I mean, when I had sent the district foresters report, she was mentioned there. And I had also contacted the surveyor, they recommended, and I left 2 messages, never got an answer back. And that irritates me.
BRUSILA.
So if you could talk to her right now, what would you ask her to do? A meeting first and then as a secondary thing because of scheduling and evenings
Yeah.
and stuff is to get maybe 2
Yeah,
members of the
so-
board.
My preference would be to have a meeting with all of us so that we're all on the same page right away.
Yeah.
And she can see, what we work, and if she cannot come during an evening, then, obviously my open days are Mondays. Having to try to schedule something on Monday afternoon, or Monday morning. And then have her come, talk to us, and then again, walk the land, show her the maps and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, in the beginning, it's just gonna be map work, looking at
Yeah.
where it's gonna be in the size of, because when they look and see. what's
She didn't want to take a stroll just to get an idea.
She will, yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's.
Good.
familiar with it.
I'm thinking that another potential part of this is the select board is amenable in principle to adding a chunk of town land to this,
Yeah,
but they haven't decided how much.
yeah, I know.
And it would be helpful to have a rough idea of, or if we could get them to say, well, at least this much.
That's why I think
Um,
we're doing the research, we're doing legwork here to propose.
no, I
something,
think-
and then-
Ultimately, it will need to go to town meeting before we can do this with land. The select board will have to decide what they want to recommend, and then the town will have to vote on it. We don't have to wait until June. There can be a special town meeting when they're ready
To do what?
to vote to put some of the land into conservation.
Our town and go into the.
Right.
There must be minutes. I remember the town meeting when we bought this piece of land.
And
Really?
And
When we're talking
what
about.
was that?
Did you, well,
Oh,
which
it's-
piece of land? The whole thing to the roll? But I mean,
When
the
I
land
say
that, the land that
I
the
mean,
fire
Just back
station.
with railroad.
No, bought before there was a town office or a fire station or anything? Is that one?
Yeah, they bought. we
They bought it and built on it.
To
to
put the
build.
fire station
Oh,
in town.
Okay. All right, so we are
So it must be
talking,
minutes for that meeting and stuff. There might have been some discussion on what they.
but that was before
that-
the
I mean,
flood.
That brings up an issue, something that's worth clarifying is that if we are talking to the town forester. Or we're talking to a forester about this land, are we talking just about the newly purchased land and not the existing town land?
Well, that's why I'm saying
Right.
it would be
Different now, yeah.
helpful to have a picture of.
Okay, so the question you need to get from the answer to the selectmen would she mind if the person that we have reviewed the lot looks at it as a single lot?
yeah,
Just looks at the acreage as a single lot and
Yeah.
comes back with information.
and we know that all the area up to the skunk dump is municipal working area, so not available for
Right.
recreation or
Um,
whatever.
Unavailable.
Yeah. and
But
available.
I just, it's a polite thing to do to ask the selectmen if you
Yeah.
mind if we approach the person with that consideration.
Yes, I think,
And we-
John mentioned it, that
Yeah,
it's
we have-
still to be
yeah.
determined how
Right.
much of the town.
In,
Right,
in all
okay.
the back and forth about this preliminary application for land for Mains via right, that we invented this thing to have a way to talk to them. The select board was, I mean, I'll send it out. I didn't want to send it before the meeting because it was like, you'd all say, what? So But I will send it out after the meeting. And the main thing is the 5-page summary of what we want to do. And it talks about the preserve that we would create would be Klein plus Smith,
Mhm.
plus between 50 and 70 acres of town land.
Yeah.
Now, that would
Now, who
be,
came up with that?
Me.
75? Okay.
but 20 acres of it, there is that funny little slice that they are happy to let go, because
Yeah.
what else are you going to do? And they're happy to let some chunk moving from the back forward.
Mhm.
And what they haven't decided is where they want to stop,
Yeah.
where they want the line to be. But my back and forth with John was, he said, well, I'm a little uncomfortable with
I know.
80. And so I said, okay, 70. And he didn't blanch.
I mean, that'll come down to,
I think John always thinks, he doesn't think 10 years ahead, he thinks 100 years.
Right.
Yeah,
He
right.
really
So, but I think
Yeah,
what I'm not hearing any, first of all, I think John is the one they're all turning to for, what do you think?
Yeah.
With Jeff second and Sue saying, whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
That's my
See,
read.
well, Sue's pretty new still.
Well, yeah, she's the
Yeah.
new kid on the block and she's just trying to learn the ropes.
so you,
New kid on the block, and she's the oldest resident in terms of, family roots here.
Well,
New
no,
kid
but
with
in
the
terms of,
partners.
of the, I don't think until you're on the select board, you would have a clue of how complicated that job is and all that.
well, it depends on what you did before. If you're in a daycare center, you're pretty well set.
I don't think so, no.
I just want to
Yeah.
get concrete about this. And so we are in agreement that somebody will get in touch with your forester. I'm using it because it's the only name that they have. Right, and we'll try to get permission to, an understanding from the selectmen that we're gonna see if it's okay to look at it as a single block of land,
Yeah.
right?
Well, they've already-
At least 50 and
Yeah.
maybe up to 70.
Yeah.
Well, no,
because
but you
they-
see, that'll come, I look at that is whether or not, if this land is under conservation easement, because that was the agreement when we sold it, right? And then you sit back and see the town's got all this abutting land. When we figure out what trail system is there, there may be a reason that the trail system indicates that we want to run it through the previous town land.
Yeah.
Then we've got a reason to come forward and say, could we please attach this acreage to the protected land? But we need to give them a reason.
Henry, you'll see when I send this thing out that we've already crossed that bridge. Our application, our pre-application said the preserve will include 50 to 70 acres,
And you just kind of came.
give
up
or
with it
take.
As it, because it's only a. pre-
Well, what I did, I looked at,
The pre-tree.
there's the 20 acres that's
Yeah. yeah,
nobody's
I understand that.
got down.
Yeah.
Then you look at the 100 acres and you look at how far back
Mhm.
the town is actually using it.
Yeah, or maybe.
And it's about 40 acres, maybe 60 acres at least
Mhm.
is just there and left wild. And so that's, and our application said more or less to be discussed, select board and town have to decide, but tentatively, this is how much.
Mhm.
And I think 50 acres minimum,
Mhm.
so that's only the 20 plus 30.
But I wonder if at the time of the purchase, there was a discussion
Right.
about what to do with the rest of this.
Whether
They
there
were
were,
interested in what was on the road.
were any easements put on the rest of it.
The piece that was for sale was the whole
Yeah.
piece, and the town bought it.
But you're just.
Yeah.
What was
It
the-
seems
what were
like-
they thinking?
It seems like there must have been some discussion about the.
What to do with the back 80, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing we should try to do, find minutes of those
have-
meetings, which
They
was
talked a lot about things like stump dump.
in
I've got my
1960,
back
what?
50, you know.
When was it?
Huh?
How many years?
Can you
ago?
figure out a date?
Well,
A
I'm sure you
decade?
can find out easily where, from the front office here, what year they built the fire
Yeah,
station.
yeah.
All right, I have
Okay.
3 action items here. One is so contact Barry Drusilla to figure out when she would be available to come and talk to us, one in the evening or day or something. One is to contact St. George Conservation Commission to
Who else?
learn about
Yeah,
the
who else?
process
Yeah.
to develop the 4-point trail.
Mhm.
And then another contact is Al's head to do the same thing. What process did they follow? How long did it take?
Yeah.
Try to get their process. so that
Who was
we
the
don't have-
engineer, right?
Yeah, we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
Right.
So I don't mind calling Barry Brasila. Who wants to contact St. George?
Well, let me just bring up something that Sally and I are involved in, which is the Knox County
Yeah,
Conservation Commission's working group, which will be meeting, has its quarterly meeting tomorrow night. And we start the meeting with a go-around where each of the 6 conservation commissions said, just fill in the others on what are we working on? What are our priorities? What do we need help with? And what help, what are we doing that might help you guys? So that is the perfect time for us to make, and I'm already planning to do that, to
okay.
say, here's our top priority, and we already know we want to,
So more than likely, St. George
Mentoring.
will have a representative.
definitely they
Yeah,
will.
Okay,
Right. I don't know about Al's head. They have trouble getting people to the meeting, but
okay.
St. George definitely will be represented.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Ken,
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Ken, whose last name I can't. pronounce.
Elberger,
Oh,
Oldberger.
or just Oldberger?
That's what I call it. He can tell me if I'm wrong.
The spelling is kind of weird.
Okay, so yes, so Sally and I will
perfect.
see that that gets done
7
and
o'clock Tomorrow night at the Gilpin Butler.
uh-uh, on Zoom.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, you want to come to my house if your computer's still not working?
Good idea. Yes, I'm,
We're both computer challenged. I have, oh my God, mine died 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm just now getting back.
Just being a.
Well, mine maybe just went over a long
While we
sleep.
were working on the application, mine was acting up. same thing.
That's right, but yours came back to life. Mine has not.
Yeah.
So I have a new computer, which I'm struggling to learn. Only half my stuff is on it. We're struggling to find where the rest of mine might be, or I might have to recreate my life. It's not clear yet. So,
I lost my good
Oh.
flow.
but I can get on Zoom, and I did it last night for that terrific presentation.
Okay.
Hold on, I managed to get the 10-year or more old computer that belongs to the association to actually go on Zoom, but I kept losing it. And it kept telling me, this is too much, I can't do this.
No, seriously.
This is too heavy. I can't maintain it.
Okay,
Was it talking out loud to you?
I had one
so,
across the top that said more or less that, I'm paraphrasing.
so do we need to tie any more bows around what we've already done? Henry, do you think we
I'm
need
not,
any
as far
loose
as
ends you
step
see?
1 of what we're trying to move this
Okay.
along, or step 2, actually, to move this along. Yeah, I think we've got plenty of.
Yeah,
it.
and there's other stuff we're gonna need to be doing, consulting a lot of people on budget and timetable,
Yeah,
going back to Annette for more guidance on
Yeah.
all the next steps, et
But I
cetera.
think we need also to think about the call to people,
Mhm. But we have to
so
have
that's
something to,
publicity, yeah, the
Yeah.
public awareness.
publicity, but like a fundraising effort.
I completely agree, but we have to say, not, please give us some money,
Yeah.
but
and that's the whole
here's
point.
exactly what we need
Here-
money
here you give us money.
for, and this, how much.
Thoughts you have on what could be included, which format it's going to take, which venues we can
Mhm.
use, we have the listserv. Should we plan on doing public presentation? Should we plan on doing like a barbecue with, try to get people,
One thing I really would, if we start doing a public awareness and trying to put stuff, is run it by the selectmen a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd just be a little cautious about that.
Oh, no, we will keep them in the loop at all times.
doing a lot of thinking ahead of time and present plans.
Yeah,
Instead of, could we do this,
Yeah. yes,
show a plan.
yeah, all right.
Yeah, the applicant for this grant is not us. It is the town through the select board.
Yes,
So we have been doing everything hand in hand with them, which is good because we know where we stand.
But I think they're looking at us, that's why we have a conservation commission to take the lead.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
on on doing the
They've
work,
been on
but
their
they
plate.
want to be in the picture and that's absolutely correct.
cool.
Figure it out and present it to them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
give them the tools. So we're, the resilience.
I'm guessing that with neither Theo nor Neil here, the next two items are going to have to be deferred.
So we could go back down to your pound,
No
The-
plans for fall roadside cleanup
oh,
day.
yes.
Mhm.
Are we going to have one? Do we need to pick a date?
If we picked a date, it would be next month. The one thing that I would get done before is for those signs that we had about roadside cleanup, I was gonna get them printed that said next Saturday. So you put the sign out 2 weeks before, and then it's next Saturday. And my one question.
And then you
was-
can go back and just cover over the next, right?
Or
anyway,
this
never-
Saturday, that's what I
right,
meant. This
right.
Saturday, yeah, thank you for that. Yes, it's this
Okay.
Saturday. So you put it out Sunday
Whatever.
night, so to speak. You put them out next to the signs you had out.
Still need a date on it, I think.
Yeah, we do.
Um,
It's got to be a Saturday
I
and
mean,
I,
the sign, I don't know. As long as they-
this is the reason that I've tried to solve this problem for years,
I know.
and it's a real problem. And I think if you put the sign out, it says, roadside cleanup, and then that's out a couple of days, and then you put a sign next to it, say this Saturday, and and you can put the time 11 to whatever underneath it. And if you want, then things start getting smaller, it's meet at the library. Parking lot,
I
right?
just think they're out and back in, so people don't get used to seeing them over and over, so that was sad, or that was last year's. Or, you know what I mean?
Well,
They're
yeah,
gonna
I mean,
go out and be
I did
like-
take them down, so, but do you want me to go out and get the signs, as far as dates go, the only thing you can do is write it on a separate piece of
Yes.
paper and stick it to the thing. So, but do you want me to go out
Well,
and
let's
get,
pick a date.
yeah.
When do you
So-
want it?
well, I have to look at, I'll pull up my calendar, wait a minute.
Mid-October.
I know I have one.
Okay.
One of those automatic things changed rearranged all my icons. Now I have to hunt for them.
October
Okay.
14th is a Saturday.
Yeah.
That's the weekend after Columbus Day or
Yeah.
Indigenous Peoples'
Yeah, you
Day.
don't want it on that weekend.
Right, so the
So
14th. is
14th would be fine.
All right,
Sounds
you
good.
want to do that?
Okay,
14th, good, that's good.
okay. And how to do this, we've sort of been through the drill enough that we could just,
So-
Leslie, can you get the truck and things like that?
So which time? We do like it with 10 to 12 or?
10's a pretty good start.
I think so, especially because it's darker now.
Yeah,
Does anybody besides me keep noticing on Buttermilk Lane that piece of furniture is still there? I haven't been across
oh,
that
there's a
lately.
couch that's right
Yeah.
down the road,
Mhm.
that's on Buttermilk, there's a couch right down the road that I'm
Oh.
waiting for somebody, it's overgrown, pretty soon.
Yeah, there's one on Buttermilk
I
Lane
haven't seen,
Oh,
by the pond.
yeah, I haven't seen that.
You haven't, it was there when we did the cleanup in the spring.
it's still there?
Yeah, a little, well, what do they call those ones that are a little short, but that.
Love seat, a little love seat?
Yeah.
On Buttermilk? No, I really don't.
It's a two-seat couch instead of a
It's a love seat.
three.
That's why it's not.
So I go, love seat.
That's
I
good.
haven't
In the
seen
olden
one right down
days.
the road here, but I haven't seen.
They used to turn them. One face one way and face the other.
Oh, yeah, all right.
So that gives us,
I'll be right back.
Try to get that picked up.
that gives us,
Try to get it picked up if we can.
It was there when you and I drove.
I don't, I'm sorry, I don't.
Really, am I the one who sees that every time I drive across? the
You're not talking about this is right down here.
No, that's a chair.
No, that's a love seat. And it's
That's
been
a
there
love
for a
seat.
long sit.
Well, there's the,
And I notice it all.
but we
the time.
digress.
No,
Right.
yes, we do. I'm sorry. We'll get it. We'll try to get it. If it's in somebody's yard.
but it's something you're gonna have two people
Yeah, yeah,
pick up
yeah, yeah.
and put, and you're
We'll
gonna
figure it
have a
out.
truck to put it in.
We'll figure it out.
That gives us the Wednesday before. Right, to do any sort of final stuff. That'd be our normal meetings the
Yeah,
Wednesday
all
before.
right, so, yeah, that's good.
So, I mean, it's simple enough
Yeah, it is.
that I don't think we need to have a whole week after our meeting. Yeah,
No.
okay. So any big things that come up, so I will go out and get the signs. I'm gonna ask one more time, do you want me to put like the 10 to 12 on it? Because if
10 to
people,
12, I think that's a good window.
Yeah, okay, right,
And we have all the stuff at the bottom, all the.
at the bottom of the library, yeah.
That's what it is.
The basement, yeah, I didn't want to say the word, so I just.
Okay, good. We'll get it, Sally, we'll get those things. We find them, we'll get them.
So,
No.
That's
so
it.
our-
What is the species?
Somebody, I don't know, big fraud.
So is there a thing on the town webpage, where Terry posted during roadside cleanup?
Well, there is the. The homepage where they are the announcement. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
Right.
it gets lost and I think the best way will be to send an email via the listserv again, like a save the date, kind of thing. We could do that.
Okay,
What about posting
at
posters?
the library, yeah,
Yeah,
but I think we might need a new
Image?
graphic, yes.
and then there will be. a
Because-
press release.
because They'll
Right.
say, oh,
Yeah,
I've seen that, and their
yeah,
eyes will
yeah,
go right by
yeah.
it.
That's a very
So-
good point, but yeah, a brand new one.
we're doing a press release. We wanted to sort of come out about the first of October, we want to start putting it in the
We
paper.
can do that, right?
I find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you want to put it on your calendar, because it needs to be done obviously before.
Yeah, we'll see it twice if you stop.
We can figure out the dates that it has to get there.
Yeah,
And we already have, we just need to look at the text and tweak it.
all right, so
And then
I don't know what their
you
published
could
date.
find
but-
another
Yeah.
terrific graphic.
Yeah,
That's what
okay,
I'm telling them, you take
Yeah.
responsibility.
Okay.
Okay. That's when you're out, when to do it.
Right, I've got that
And
on
they
the
said
calendar,
yes.
but,
Yeah,
they said, yeah, okay, yeah, good enough.
right.
as far as I'm concerned.
I take your word.
When do you leave?
The 7th, I think.
Oh, okay, so we won't count on you to,
Sorry.
Maybe-
7th of October.
yeah.
I have a few trips coming up, but the first one is Arizona, so.
So you're not gonna be there
Ah.
for site cleanup?
No, but I can help with pre-publicity.
Okay,
We're into pre. The other good thing is though, that with the 14th, we have a meeting the Wednesday before, so we can get our ducks in a row.
yep,
Yeah, but all the press releases to. be
Oh, no,
done.
no, understood, but
Yeah.
last minute planning, being sure
Yeah.
everybody's, et
So
cetera.
our meeting is the 11th then.
Yeah.
yeah,
And one thing that comes up every time on roadside cleanup is people say, well, how about I just clean up my street? And I think we should say, well, great.
Mhm.
And just tell us a pickup point if you want somebody to come with the truck.
Well,
Or we
Or-
designate.
so-
I almost think if you're gonna do your own, then take your own with you.
Okay,
I really do. I mean.
well, it would
you mean take
depend,
it to the transfer station or take it to the library?
unless it's some,
I'll be the library. or the-
Yeah,
okay.
we designate the drop.
Before I was on this committee, I used to do my own road and I
Yeah.
take it myself.
Right, yeah.
Well,
Make it
okay.
less complicated.
the only,
That's a good way to put
except
it.
if they come across like truck tires or something.
Yeah.
Then they could let us know
Make a note,
where to come get it
try
or
to get us
whatever.
there.
Yeah, roll it out and say, if it's something big like that.
Love
let us know.
seats.
But all the other stuff.
Yeah, okay.
All right, that's-
Are you gonna do a barbecue again?
I hadn't thought about that yet, but I like doing it.
What if you do?
Very nice that you do. You could probably be smart. doesn't
No, I
have to
just-
be.
just
I
wanted
like
to put it
doing
on
it.
I
the
know.
poster.
Oh,
Put it on the poster.
And I'd
my
call it cookout.
hesitation is just if something messes up and we have to not do it, then we've
So don't-
announced something that isn't gonna happen.
You know, the rain date.
Yeah, well,
Or.
wasn't there that time that it just
But it's on the
didn't
poster.
happen?
Not a lot got eaten, but some people ate.
Oh, okay.
Well,
See, it's the way I get hamburger in the house.
Mhm.
It's like the leftovers I get to eat for the rest of the year, so.
Is your wife a
I
vegetarian?
have leftovers from last time.
Yeah,
Oh, she is?
yeah. I'm kind of
Oh.
an omnivore, I mean,
Ah,
I can go without meat for ages.
Yeah,
Every once in a while, I just need to eat bovine. That's good.
okay.
once in a while I go to the house at store and I get a 7 napkin burger. And you need all 7 napkins.
Yeah, and it's good for a month, right?
Um,
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah, it's the Landings. They have a burger that they call the triple bypass.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
they
think I'll
do, and I
skip it.
had one.
This, right?
Pine Tree Power. Sally, pitch in.
What?
I cannot do, we're on to Pine Tree Power. So here's,
I couldn't figure out how to send it to the printer on.
that's okay. We got lot. I made,
Is that possible? To
so
send
there, I
it to
made,
the printer?
If you
one,
have,
two, three,
Like,
5 of you, and I've got one that I kept at home. So
I don't.
you have it?
Sal, did you need one, Sal?
Oh,
I gave them.
Sally's got, you need,
I can just call.
so you can make
and
copies. Leslie, do you have?
I don't know how to. Right
So
now.
what you're saying is a 30-second ad on TV doesn't really tell the truth.
Oh, God.
I'm sure we have time
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, but no, I want to send the
To have this on next meeting,
To
because
the-
I'd like to hear a lot about this.
to the printer, but.
I'm
I
just,
couldn't
no,
figure out
all I'm gonna do tonight is,
My printer at home,
oh,
and it doesn't.
well,
There,
here,
I don't.
guys. Attention,
It's
all right.
education.
Yeah. So the basic point about Pine Tree Power is, and you all know, we are being flooded with stuff by, they have spent, I think the number was $27 million flooding us with misinformation, CMP and Versant and their owners, who are, in the case of Versant, the town of Calgary in Canada.
Mhm.
And in the case of CMP, I'm embarrassed to say, the sovereign wealth funds of Qatar, United Arab Emirates, something like that, and Norway. That's where our money's going. That's where all these outrageous amounts we spend go. They go out, not even out of the state, out of the country. So the presentation that we listened to last night, and we're going to try, right, and see if we can get the same speaker. She's a state senator.
She's
On the
state
committee.
senator from Ellsworth for Hancock County.
Right. She just had all these facts at her fingertips. She had this terrific PowerPoint presentation with graphs of here's how much, there was our power bills are in 2 slices, and one slice is the actual product and the other is delivery. And she showed how places like CMP, the cost is double or triple
Mhm.
what it is where people have their own community own power.
And some of these places are in Maine.
Yeah.
There are little pockets of
Right.
co-op.
Finally.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Haven is its own.
Yeah.
So there were just all these pieces of information responding to the misinformation that's been flooding out. Like, how are you ever going to be able to afford it? Well, all these other places that have done it, like Boulder, Colorado, have afforded it and more, because for one thing, a community-owned facility, which is not a capitalist enterprise, can borrow at 1/3 the rate of business. They don't need to make a profit. They don't need to have massive advertising campaigns. They don't have an incentive to resist having solar hooked up to the grid. She just,
I think the good thing was just talk to people and tell them about this.
well,
and get
right.
people to-
Right, no, you want to make an educated
what-
choice.
yeah,
This is-
this is,
yeah,
we're
we
doing,
can't,
yeah.
we can't advocate the position, but we can.
Yeah,
I don't know why not.
Advertise.
Yeah.
We can advertise information sessions and.
no, but we as single people can go and say, this is what, to your
Yeah.
friends.
Right.
Nothing to do with conservation.
Well,
Yeah,
that's-
that.
No, I went through my contacts list, and I found 70 people that I sent the copy of that too.
Right.
On email.
I don't
Right.
have any friends.
Yeah.
I bet you do. Oh, I bet you
Well,
do.
I didn't say they were all close friends.
Yeah, email friends. She said email friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But this one.
I didn't send it
Right.
to any of the association's customers or anybody that I knew didn't, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in the Conservation Commission's purview at the meeting to.
I
other
think
than
No.
it is conservation.
Get the
The
information.
this going to something like this, which really, once you have this kind of community owned, it makes enormous economic sense to go green.
Mhm.
And so it is a conservation measure.
Mm.
But anyway,
Well, we could, I guess. Why wouldn't we be able to, as a group, suggest that, or is that too political? Anyway.
I think
Well, no, I
it should
recommend
not,
which way the citizens of the community vote.
it's not political in the, no, well, yeah,
That's what I'm asking.
but it is not partisan. It's not partisan political because
Yeah.
I
the-
just have
the
one
reason-
question, statement.
Well, I would say, it's like for the budget, like when the budget committee recommends voting yes for something, or the select board recommends voting yes, like when we
Mhm.
presented the position to buy the land.
Recommend buying the land.
Yeah, so here we can, I mean, we can take a vote, but I would be in favor, yes, of going for Pine Tree Power. So if we are unanimous in that option, we can put the thing forward and say, you know, the Conservation Commission recommends voting yes.
well, no, I wouldn't go that far.
No,
That's my question.
no.
I would say
Okay.
what this is about, read the second thing, learn the truth about it. Go someplace to get informed.
So you recommend that you find out the truth.
Yeah, fine. We recommend that you learn enough about it.
Not always what government wants you to do, you know.
Well, and it's certainly not what a profit-making entity wants you to do.
Well, thank you much for this, because I would definitely go with that. 'Cause I have been.
Okay, but this is the only, that Sally sent it to me is the only way I've seen it. So,
That's
I
one
think-
of the 70 people I sent it. to.
well, thank you. But what we ought to do, it seems to me, what we can do is see that these are up like every place we would put a
Oh,
poster.
yeah.
For-
That's my
We
friend
can make
Nancy
sure that we papered the community.
Davis. And we
Um,
registered,
Sally and I will bring it up tomorrow at that meeting and urge all of our colleagues to spread it in their communities. And I do think it's a great idea to
registering kids before they.
make a PDF,
Mhm.
send it to all your email buddies, urge them to pass it on. And if they possibly can, because Nancy Davis is sitting there thinking there'll only be 20 people in Strom Auditorium and we need to prove her wrong.
So I think they're not gonna have.
Any event co-sponsored by the Society of Fearless Grandmothers.
I think that's,
Yeah.
but that's the other, look, that's the lovely thing about it. Listen, it's the Society of Fearless Grandmothers, Our Power, 350.org, Third Act Maine, and the Sunrise Foundation. These are
Yeah.
These are not the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, this is
Yeah.
groups that just care about the community.
Yeah.
No, let's do with that then.
The Society of Grandmothers registered kids in high schools to vote, maybe.
Airport and.
That's, well, if you want to do my problem is I'm leaving, but we could do it. When I get back, I'll double check that you've hit every place. Yeah. Bless you. Oh, I'm sorry not to do it with you.
You have any other business?
Yes, we have your correspondence form letter.
Publicize the
From the correspondence secretary.
I think that's, of course, I think corresponding secretary is the term I've
I think you
seen,
were
but
right, I saw that somewhere.
yeah, I think that's cool. Like, that's what you are.
I'm just joking.
No,
Correspondence.
I
executive corresponding secretary.
does not get carried away.
You don't have to accept that.
All right, I just had one small, if we're up to that. One small suggestion is that, and thank you for doing this. I would. Your second sentence is, I will put your concerns, questions on the agenda.
Mhm.
I would suggest just that I will put your message on the agenda, not suggesting necessarily that we'll get into the issue. Because
Your message?
sometimes we don't want to go there.
Why is that?
Well, I've just seen the select board do that. When correspondence comes up, they said duly noted. And we'll look into it further or something like that, but we're not tonight going to get into the issue. So that kind of thing.
I mean, it's up to everybody else. I mean, it's just putting it on the agenda doesn't know to do anything about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But whatever anybody wants.
Well, I'm just thinking
Agendas
it,
are full of things.
Yeah.
Or you could just. Yeah, concerns is enough
well, it might not be concerned. Who knows? The
That's
message
why I
could be anything.
issue,
That's why I said
issue.
your
We
concerns,
will relay
questions.
your message.
Your message that covers
I will
whatever
put your
message.
message on our next, I
Yeah.
don't like the way that sounds.
Oh,
I will put your message on our next meeting. agenda.
Issue.
Hmm?
Issue.
well, not necessarily. Well, whatever.
Well, we're not gonna discuss their issue though necessarily.
That's what I
No,
said.
it's just being brought up.
Issue's not on the agenda. What's on the agenda is
I'd like to be with this too, but it's okay.
How does it read?
No, how about just entered into the correspondence?
I think we're overthinking the whole.
Right, so do I.
We're getting
One letter
close to that.
So do I. Yeah.
right.
It could take months.
I like the way,
Yeah. it's good.
Good enough?
it sounds very welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want
Okay.
a motion?
Like people are heard.
Yeah, I think well, does everybody like it the way it is?
Now I
Yeah.
get what they-
Yeah, it doesn't mean that we have to answer them.
I'll make a motion that we accept the draft correspondence, acknowledgement letter as presented.
I second it.
Okay,
All those,
all in favor?
aye.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. That it?
Well done.
I'll make. a motion.
Without objection, the meeting is adjourned.
Meeting is
We
adjourned.
don't have to waste time getting motions and seconds.
I just always want to know if
Thank you.
anybody wants to stay longer, see that?
Oh, yeah, well, you're welcome to sit here.
Well done. Thank you very much for bringing that, because I have really been wanting to know more about it.
I think a lot of us have.
Well, that's what. the
Have we
responses
stopped
I
recording?
got
Oh.
from people, my
No.
email was. Oh, great, I'll go. I'm wanting to find out more about this.
Exactly.
Because, I mean.
I saw it in a 30-second ALTV. I think I know everything I need to know.
Right.
One side.
You know,
I'll bring it up. so you can-
Yeah.
Now, look,
that was in the office.
this is me.
Yeah.
This is me.
No, no.